Roman Catholic 82.7%, Pentecostal 1.6%, Jehovah's Witnesses 1.4%, other Evangelical Churches 5%, other 1.9%, none 4.7%, unspecified 2.7%. Catholicism is the dominant religion in Mexico, with about 82.7% of the population as of 2010. In recent decades the number of Catholics has been declining, due to the growth of other Christian denominations especially various Protestant churches and Mormonism which now constitute 9.7% of the population, and non-Christian religions. Conversion to non-Catholic denominations has been considerably slower than in Central America, and Central Mexico remains one of the most Catholic areas in the world. An estimated 2 to 5 million Mexicans adhere to the veneration of Santa Muerte, and most of them see themselves as members of the Catholic Church, even though the Vatican condemns this practice. Movements of return and revival of the indigenous Mesoamerican religions have also appeared in recent decades. Buddhism and Islam have both made limited inroads, through immigration and conversion. Religion and the state. The Mexican Constitution of 1917 imposed limitations on the Roman Catholic Church in Mexico and sometimes codified state intrusion into religious matters. The government does not provide financial contributions to the religious institutions, nor does the Roman Catholic Church participate in public education. Christmas is a national holiday and every year during Easter and Christmas all schools in Mexico, public and private, send their students on vacation. In a major reversal of the Mexican state's restrictions on religion, the Constitution was amended in 1992 lifting almost all restrictions on the religions, including granting all religious groups legal status, conceding them limited property, and lifting restrictions on the number of priests in the country. Until recently, priests did not have the right to vote, and even now they cannot be elected to public office. Abrahamic religions. Christianity. Historically the Roman Catholic Church in Mexico is the oldest established church, established in the early 16th century. At independence, the Roman Catholic Church kept its status as the only permissible church in Mexico. In the mid-19th century, Mexican liberals curtailed the exclusive standing of the church, and Protestant missionaries, mainly from the United States, legally evangelized in Mexico. Other Christian denominations have grown in Mexico, dating from the 20th century. With the growth of immigration from the Middle East, Eastern Catholic churches were established. Evangelical Protestant churches have expanded their reach significantly from the late 20th century. Roman Catholicism. Roman Catholics are 82.7% of the total population, down from 96% in 1970. The number of Mexican Catholics has fallen by 5% in the first decade of the 21st century, and in the southeast Catholics make up less than two-thirds of the population. In absolute terms, Mexico has the world's second largest number of Catholics, surpassed only by Brazil. Mexicans are at least nominally Catholic, some combine or syncretize Catholic practices with native traditions. In the Yucatan Peninsula, some Mayan peoples still practice the traditional beliefs of their ancestors, without being syncretized with Christianity. The same happens with the Wixárika people of Jalisco and Nayarit. There are major festivities in Mexico celebrating the Christian holidays of Epiphany, All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day or Day of the Dead, Día de los Fieles Difuntos, and the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. These are not public holidays in Mexico. Christmas is celebrated as a religious and public holiday. Eastern Catholicism in Mexico. There are also separate jurisdictions for specific Eastern particular churches within the Catholic Church in Mexico. The Maronite Catholic Eparchy of Nuestra C plus or minus Hora de los Mártires del Líbano in Mexico, the Melkite Catholic Eparchy of Nuestra C plus or minus Hora del Paraíso in Mexico, the Armenian Catholic Apostolic Exarchate of Latin America and Mexico. Protestantism. About 11% of the population are Protestant, of whom Pentecostals and Charismatics are the largest group. The Anglican Communion is represented by the Anglican Church of Mexico. Protestantism is strongest where the Catholic Church and the Mexican state have little presence, and accounts for over 10% of the population in the 4 states that border heavily Protestant Guatemala, Campeche, Chiapas, Quintana Roo, and Tabasco. It is also sizable in the Mexican states that border the U.S. state of Texas. Protestantism is also on the rise as it offers a less legalistic and hierarchical version of Christianity. Orthodoxy. There are some Mexicans practicing Eastern Orthodoxy in Mexico, mainly foreign-born people. Seventh-day Adventist. There are also a number of Seventh-day Adventists. Jehovah's Witnesses. The 2000 national census counted more than 1 million Jehovah's Witnesses. According to the Jehovah's Witnesses official figures for 2014, there were over 800,000 members involved in preaching. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The first LDS missionaries in Mexico arrived in 1875. In 1885, 400 Mormon colonists moved to Mexico. In 1993, the Mexican government formally registered the LDS Church. This allowed the church to own property in Mexico. As of year-end 2006, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints reported 1,368,475 members, 231 stakes, 1,998 congregations, and 12 temples in Mexico. According to the 2000 census, 0.25% of the population identified as members, amounting to approximately 267,500. La Luz del Mundo. La Luz del Mundo is a charismatic Christian denomination with international headquarters in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Its flagship church in Guadalajara is said to be the largest non-Catholic house of worship in Latin America. Judaism. The presence of Jews in Mexico dates back to 1521, when Hernán N. Cortés copyright conquered the Aztecs, accompanied by several conversos. According to the last national census by the INEGI, there are now more than 67,000 Mexican Jews, the near totality of which live in the Greater Mexico City area. Baha'i Faith. The Baha'i Faith in Mexico begins with visits of Baha'is before 1916. In 1919, letters from the head of the religion, Abdul-Baha, were published mentioning Mexico as one of the places Baha'is should take the religion to. Following further pioneers moving there and making contacts, the first Mexican to join the religion was in 1937, followed quickly by the first Baha'i local spiritual assembly of all Latin America being elected in 1938. With continued growth, the National Spiritual Assembly was first elected in 1961. The Association of Religion Data Archives estimated almost 38,000 Baha'is in 2005. Islam. In 2010 there were 3,700 Muslims in Mexico. Islam is mainly practiced by members of the Arab, Turkish, and other expatriate communities, though there is a very small number of the indigenous population in Chiapas that practices Islam. Buddhism. Approximately 108,701 Buddhists are counted in Mexico. Also one of 6 Tibet houses in the world, Casa Tibet Ma copyright Zico is located in Mexico City. It is used by the Dalai Lama and other leaders of Tibetan Buddhism to preserve and share Tibetan culture and spirituality. Alejandro Jodorowsky has stated that he discovered Zen Buddhism in the 1960s while in Mexico. There are also 2 institutions from Theravada Buddhism tradition, the Theravada Buddhist Monastery, 3, and the Vipassana House of Meditation. 4. There are at least 30 Buddhist groups in Mexico. 5. Non-religious. Although the demographics of atheism and irreligion in Mexico is hard to measure because many atheists are officially counted as Catholic, almost 3 million people in the 2000 national census reported having no religion. Recent surveys have shown that around 3% of Catholics attend church daily and 44% attend church at least once a week, and, according to INEGI, the number of atheists grows annually by 5.2%, while the number of Catholics grows by 1.7%. Census information. Notes. Further reading, Dow, James W. The Expansion of Protestantism in Mexico, An Anthropological View. Anthropological Quarterly, Volume 78, Number 4, pages 827–851. External links. Religion in Mexico.